Excited to begin a new era of basketball right here at the Ocean Bank Convocation Center. Joey Cantens, gracious enough to join us. And Coach, we had a tradition when Willie Simmons was hired here at FIU. We'll do it again here. A little bit different for you this time. For Coach Simmons, it was a welcome to Miami, Golala. For you, it's a welcome home, Golala. But after a full day of work here, meeting everybody in Panther Nation, salud.
Amazing. Good to be back.
Tastes a little bit like home, huh? So, Coach, let's start right there. I always ask every newcomer the same first question, and for you it's different. But why FIU? What was the reasoning that ultimately drew you here back home to Miami?
Yeah, so obviously it's home, and I grew up around here. I just said it in my press conference, but I literally grew up sneaking into the gym upstairs and getting kicked out on the weekends. So I understand the culture, I understand the community. I was here for a year, played here for a year. I have family members that came to school here, so I know what FIU is, I know what Miami is, and what an unbelievable opportunity for me.
Do you have a favorite memory from that year playing here at FIU?
No, you know, at the press conference, I didn't even know they were coming, but 4 of the guys that I played with this year ended up showing up to the press conference. So just the memories you make and with the teammates and the friendships you build that last a lifetime. You always say that, and 20 years later to live in that moment of your friends coming back is really cool.
I'm curious, rewind like 2 months ago. How do you talk about FIU in your family, right? Because you played here, your brother's here, your dad is a huge reason we have a law school here at FIU. So the connections run super deep, your uncle as well. Like, how did you talk about FIU before becoming involved in this process?
Yeah, my brother works here also.
Yeah.
So for us, it's a family environment. Whenever I'm home, and it's funny, I think I went to visit my brother in his office one time when I was home over the Christmas break. But yeah, it's just the norm. Like, we drive by here, we grew up right on Coral Way.
Right.
So family atmosphere.
And speaking of family, it was so cool at your press conference this morning. There's like 4 rows of the press conference, and it's all your family. When you looked out and you got to see them this morning in this huge moment, what were the emotions that kind of went through you?
Yeah, really cool to see everybody there, and forever. I've been away from Miami for 20 years, and everybody's super supportive of our team and wherever we go, and they cheer for us. So to have my brothers in the building, my nieces, my nephew, my mom, my dad, and you guys will all get to know my mom and my dad and my family because they'll be at the games, and you'll realize my mom sits on one side of the gym and everybody will hear her, and my dad will sit on the other side of the gym, kind of stressed about the game. So completely different personalities, but you'll hear one of them at the game.
There you go. And then, I promise I'm not trying to get you emotional here, but the idea that Luka and Camila will get to grow up in the same place that you did, that's got to inspire something in you.
Yeah, it was cool, and my wife is the best. We included our kids and my wife in the family atmosphere we created at Daytona State, and now it's going to be even more special, right? Obviously, we're FIU and we're Panthers, and we got to get our kids used to the claws up. They're used to being Falcons, so we'll transition there, but just, to be around family, to be around the culture. We go out of our way to speak Spanish at the house to our kids so that they grow up learning it, and it'll facilitate some of that here being in Miami.
I'm glad you mentioned your wife. I'm curious, if I put both of you in your prime, you're getting smoked on the basketball court, right? You don't have a chance.
I'm not getting smoked, but we're not competitive anymore because this had to have been 15 years ago. About 14 years ago, we were playing one-on-one, and it got a little bit too competitive. And we're like, you know what? For our relationship, we don't need to play one-on-one anymore. We can compete, play some shooting games, but we're not playing one-on-one anymore.
That's probably for the best, no doubt, no doubt. As far as on the court goes, right, you talked a little bit about this morning. I want to dive in. Obviously, systems change with players, systems change with levels, but I found every coach has their non-negotiables, their day ones. And for you, what are those skills that you're overloading the moment that guys come down here to Miami?
So the simplest way is pass, dribble, shoot. I like players that are skilled. I do value shooting over everything. For 4 out of the last 5 years, we've been top 5 in the country in 3-point attempts, 3-point makes, 3-point percentage, offensive efficiency. And I believe a big part of it is the players we recruit. I value skill, I value IQ, and players that know how to read the game and play the right way. So we're going to be a high 3-point shooting team. We're going to be a high assist team. All right, we play the right way, we share the ball. And then defensively, we pick up full court. There's a level of toughness within our system that you just have to have or you won't be able to play here.
It's funny, I think most folks who followed your career might think the opposite, right? Oh, he started Dunk City. They're going to focus on everything inside the paint and at the rim, but you talk about shooting. Where in your journey did you kind of pick that up and say, okay, shooting is going to be the pathway to success?
So I was blessed to go to Europe. I learned a whole different style of offense, a whole different style of basketball. And in Europe, they really talk about playing the right way, playing for each other, and getting the best shot for the team. So right now, the game's changed. Everybody talks about, of course, Alabama, Florida's playing this way, but the NBA is the one that started it, talking about points per possession, and the three-pointer is just so much more valuable than a contested two or a pull-up two. So I believe in analytics. I study analytics. I know where to create the most value per shot. So when we implement our systems to our team, they're going to understand why. They're going to understand why we shoot certain threes, why our assist numbers need to be high. So I believe in it, but I'll make sure our players understand why we're doing it also.
I think it's something Miami basketball fans can relate to, right? You go back to the Big Three era, Chris Bosh is your stretch five, the threes are everywhere, everything's spread out in order to open up things in the middle. And that's what I think people sometimes don't understand about a 5-out or focused on shooting. It's not every single shot's going to be from three, right? It creates the high efficiency plays down low, and then that efficiency spreads everywhere.
And even you said Chris Bosh, but it's the idea of being positionless. I mean, in reality, Chris Bosh is a big, but he can bring the ball up the court. And when you're able to put that stress on the defense, where I don't know if the big's bringing it, I don't know if the big is playing on the three-point line, if he's playing inside, it's really hard to guard, really hard to manage.
I want to go back to those Dunk City days, because I think for folks my age, your age, we're actually pretty close, that was a seminal moment, right? That was something we will remember for the rest of our lives. For you to be a part of that, how much fun was it?
Unbelievable. It's still, and here's what those moments do, and we're hoping to build a championship culture here, and we're trying to build a winning culture. But those moments when you win a championship, when you win, it creates a family environment that you carry with you for the rest of your life. So from the staff to the players to the administration, that those relationships you built doing something special carry on with you for the rest of your life. So it's unbelievable.
And then after that, for you, it's kind of a whirlwind. You work for like 8 coaches in 9 years, like you're everywhere all at once. How does that journey prepare you for a spot like FIU?
So I've always been very strategic with where I've gone and where I've moved to. I'm obsessed with learning. It's why I've gone the international. I did national team with the Dominican Republic. I went to California with Andy Enfield, who was at Dunk City. I worked for a great coach at IUP, Joe Lombardi. When I went to Germany, my boss has been all over Europe, Japan, Asia, everywhere. But he was coach of the year in the Champions League. And I've got to learn from some of the best coaches in the world. And of course, some of the systems you take with you, some of the ideas you take with you, but when you work for so many different coaches and systems and you see how the world plays basketball, you're able to pick and choose what you want to make yours. So I've learned different styles, I've learned different teaching techniques, but I've been very methodical in the places I've gone to, all places that I thought can help me grow, or head coaches that I've been able to learn from. So to make it my own at Daytona State and have our identity and to have success with it, really the journey's paid off. And then now it's been a 20-year journey to be able to bring all of those experiences back home and implement it here at FIU. Home is super special.
No doubt. I want to kind of follow up on that, right? Because the average basketball fan knows your bosses, right? You talk about Calipari, you talk about Coach Ham, Andy Enfield, I mean, the list goes on, right? When you're around coaches of that pedigree, of that stature, how do you kind of approach learning from them while also wanting to have your own input on those teams?
So when I was younger, I was at Florida State working for Coach Hamilton. So when you're fresh out, you say yes, sir, and you watch and you observe and you try to take in as much as you can. Honestly, not even really understanding all the ins and outs of it. But as I continue to progress through my career, even with Coach Enfield, you develop a confidence and an understanding of the game where you do ask different questions. Okay, why this? Why that? Why did you handle this scenario this way? To go into the professional world where it is a very cutthroat world. Right. You make 2 mistakes or you don't play well 3 games in a row, you're going home. And I think just seeing all the different variations of how to coach in different levels has allowed me to grow as a coach.
And obviously one of those levels that's pretty paramount at Florida International University is the international side of things. Maybe appropriate. Our international point guard, Tiago Sukatsky, is sitting about 10 feet from us right now. And so that part of it, right, driving international recruits, whether it was to Daytona or now here at FIU, how critical do you think that will be for the success of this?
Yeah, I think it's, I believe in fit, right? When we recruit a player, it's a partnership. He's got to fit me and I have to fit him. If not, it's never going to work. So the way we play and our style when you go to Europe at 14, 15 years old, you are trained to be a professional.
Yeah.
You show up at the gym a certain time before practice and you understand how to work. You make sacrifices and leave home for a better opportunity to play for a different club. So, you know, it's just different than the American style where right now it's all about AAU and shoe circuit and this. So for me, it's a combination of all of it. You know, specifically for our point guard and our big positions, the international players have had more success with me because we're a high assist team, and bigs in Europe are trained at a young age to shoot threes. So those two spots specifically have had the most success with me in our system.
Makes sense to me, and those were two international spots here on this last team. So two guys young and up and coming. But where did that start for you, right? Because I think we can all kind of understand, you know, the domestic growth, right? You start at small school, you work up to big school, but getting that international stage, kind of uncommon. How did that begin for you?
So funny story how it started with the Dominican national team. I was actually working at Florida Gulf Coast. I just got the job there. And I knew Orlando Antigua, who's now at Illinois. But he was an assistant at Kentucky. And Calipari had just taken over the Dominican Republic national team. So I called Antigua and I said, hey, I just want to come by practice. I just want to watch. And when I showed up in Lexington, I started watching practice. Hey, can you help rebound? Hey, can you pick this guy up from the airport? Can you do this? And I was around, so I was willing to do anything. And at the end of the week, I had to go back. I had a full-time job. And I'll never forget the GM was like, hey, we could use you. Like, you speak Spanish, you can be a translator, you can do this. And I ended up calling my boss, and he was like, you know, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. So it's funny, some of the stories, we're in Brazil trying to get our jerseys with the patches and the names and the numbers on them, or I'm following Calipari around the court, translating to some of the players that don't speak English. And just an unbelievable journey and opportunity for growth for me, and just seeing like some of the best coaches in the world in a whole different stage. So when I saw it at that level with the national team, opened my eyes to the world of basketball, and I was obsessed with trying to get over to Europe. So I ended up taking a job in Germany. Ryan Pannone helped me. Ryan Pannone is now the head coach at Arkansas State. I ended up taking his job, so he's the one that originally got me over to Germany.
That's awesome. You mentioned being a Spanish-speaking head coach, right? Obviously, your family has a history of pioneering. Your dad at Barry as a Latin American coach, now you here at the Division I level. How much pride is there for you in that, especially knowing this community here in Miami means a little extra?
Yeah, no, it's unique. I know there's not a lot of Division I head coaches that speak Spanish, so for me, it's the ability to engage in the community, but I think it also gives us an advantage. We can recruit different types of players. We can recruit international and have a true bond and connection just through language. And then mix in the culture of Miami. Like, this place is special. There's somebody like you. It doesn't matter where we recruit in the world. There's somebody like you on this campus.
No doubt about it. And it makes for that awesome connection recruiting-wise, like you said. And we see it across even the Power 4 teams, the Power 2 teams. The one in Coral Gables has a, you know, high school Spanish-speaking flavor to it on its staff. And as you start to build your staff, I know you don't have everything planned out right now, but what are some of the things that you're looking for? You mentioned this morning you wanted somebody with local ties. What are some of the things you're looking for on that staff?
So I believe in everybody being different and bringing different pieces to the puzzle. I'm a huge proponent of, I'm a huge believer in just development of people, development of players. So I do want everybody on the court. Everybody has to be able to coach. Obviously, our job is to recruit talent, right? But when we get them here, if they're the same in 9 months as when we got them, then I think we failed these kids. So for me, I'm obsessed with development. Everybody needs to be able to get on the court and work with guys. Everybody needs to be able to watch film and help them grow with their IQ of the game. And everybody just needs to be around. I want a family atmosphere where my kids feel welcome, my wife feels welcome, and we enjoy it together. Because it is hard. There's long days, and I want to enjoy it while we're doing it.
No doubt. In speaking to that development, right, you look at the history of Daytona State, and all their winningest years were these last few with you all. And, you know, competing for national championships, top 3 in preseason polls, stuff like that, right? When in the process did you realize, okay, we've got this thing online now, and it's going to be really good?
You know, year one was hard for me. We didn't win in year one, and I've had all my ideas and my beliefs on how we should do it, and we hit the recruiting trail even harder, and we committed to bringing in higher level talent. We committed to the international game, and to see the success in year 2, I knew we had it. I knew we had a formula that worked, and of course it's the talent, it's the players, but you know, when you're recruiting players, you're also recruiting character, you're recruiting personalities, and We had a player, he's actually at Missouri right now playing there, but I'll never forget it when we recruited him. He was like, "Coach, we're changing this program around." And he came in with a different energy and just a different vibe and belief to him that everybody followed him, and it just completely changed the dynamic of the program and the team in general. So I think it's that. I think it's the players that make the team. My job is to guide them and lead them, but we need a group of people that's ready to follow and ready to have a winning attitude, winning culture.
And then obviously, as this developed here at FIU, you guys were still competing for a national championship at the time. Kind of take us through that process for you, right? Because it's got to be hugely unique. Everyone understands, hey, you're in on this. Your players know you've got a chance. They want you to get it, but you're still wanting to win. Kind of take us through all that went.
So it's been a wild 2 weeks, let's say that. I actually put my phone down. I thought our group had a chance to win a national championship. It was the most together we'd been all year. We were playing well. Guys were all bought in, all about winning. So for the last 2 weeks, I literally turned my phone over and I said, I'm done. I'm not talking to anybody. Because as you're going through the search and as you're going through this, name leaks. Hey, can you get involved? Can you get? Is there any interest there? Can you get that job? And I just didn't want to field those calls. And then when I did speak to Heath the first time, I was like, okay, this is serious. We may have a chance. But as we're at the region tournament, I ended up doing a Zoom call with the committee, which was amazing. But we're preparing for a game. We're going back-to-back days, also preparing for an interview. So that was hard. Then the time in between, I ended up coming down to campus to meet with Heath, meet with President Nunez, meet with Scott Carr. So that was great, great opportunity. And then we're at the national tournament, and it was wild how it all happened, unbelievable. But I had to go to a coaches meeting about 45 minutes from where we were staying, and our team goes to dinner. So we're doing our own thing. It shows up on the internet that I accepted the job as we're separate, right? I'm at dinner, they're at an event. They're at dinner, I'm at an event. And it was really cool when we both get to the hotel and we get to the meeting room. Like, they were excited, they were cheering, they were like appreciative of the opportunity. And that's one of the things with junior college we talk a lot about is, hey, it's opportunity for them. We're trying to create opportunity for them to get to the next level, to make a jump. And it was really cool for them to cheer me and be excited for me as I also get an opportunity.
During that interview process, you're talking to Carlos Arroyo. His name is right there. I mean, obviously a legend at our place, a legend in this community. For you, knowing this community, being a part of it, how cool was that?
Yeah, really cool. So I actually used to come to games when he was playing here. So I grew up a fan of his, and then obviously followed his career. Know some of the stuff he's done with Puerto Rico and the national team. We have 2 Puerto Ricans on our roster this year. So again, it's just another connection to FIU is special. We have 2 players that have played in the NBA from FIU. So for me, I want to tap into those contacts. I want to tap into those players. I want those guys to influence our players. Like, how did you get there? How did you work? What did you do? What was the process? And I think that's another connection, bridge we need a gap on bringing those guys back.
It was really cool because we had, obviously, Carlos came to games, and Raja Bell, who coached our guys here, was in the building as well. So like the 2 legends at FIU were both here this year. But another element of that search is President Jeanette Nunez. And you know, she knows your dad from before, right? So you guys have familiarity there. You understand that she has an athletics focus as the president of the school. How important is that big A word, alignment? Yeah,
so, and I learned this as a head coach at Daytona State. When I was there, it was president, AD, myself, and our players fit into that alignment also. It's not just 3 people. It's a group of people that have to believe the vision. It's been amazing to hear president's vision, the athletic director's vision. I'm all in, and now it's going to be putting a roster, putting a group of players together that are aligned with what we're doing, and I think that's where you really create a special environment.
Last one for you. We'll let you go. Appreciate the time. We'll talk plenty over these next few days. Fascinated to talk to you. But as somebody who, after every broadcast, will hear from my dad and his thoughts on the broadcast, I want to talk about your dad a little bit, right? Because you're going to get some of that same stuff. And again, he's a big part of why FIU has a law school. He's a big part of this fabric. But what are those conversations like after a game between you and your dad?
So it's funny because my brothers make fun of it, right? Like, my brothers say that he calls me with notes. He's watching the games. He's like this, watching the game so intently. But no, he's a fan first. But of course, he's got his opinions on why I made this sub. Why didn't I call a timeout? You should have done this. You should have done that. But honestly, for me, he's been. Sometimes sitting as a head coach in that seat is hard. But for me, he's just been a trustworthy voice that I can talk to. And for sure, when I leave the gym after every game, I get on the phone with him and just talk and discuss how was this, how was that. And of course, he has his tips. He says what I should have done. But for me, it's just knowing I have somebody that trusts what we're doing, that believes in what we're doing, that's a fan of what we're doing on our side. Really calming for me as a leader to have him on my team.
I know he's excited you're here. I know we're excited you're here. Coach, appreciate you joining us.
Yes, sir.
Today.
Appreciate it. Thank you.